Look at how they've scratched me here and here somewhere, both places, like a rabid animal because I wouldn't buy him the latest iPhone. It took me an hour to convince him that the iPhone 5 is the latest, and now he's happy. Welcome back to Long Way Home, everyone. The place where getting your motorcycle news is easier than getting mauled by a cheetah, but not by much. Today we're talking serious stuff. Another huge worldwide recall by Brembo that's surely going to affect a lot of us. Stick around. Brembo, we all know them, a name synonymous with braking, undoubtedly the most important part of a motorcycle. If you can't brake, then you can't go fast either. Back in 2017, Brembo had a huge recall where the master cylinder would crack internally at the piston, leading to front brake failure. This affected Aprilia, Ducati, MV Agusta and KTM, and it involved thousands of bikes being brought back to the dealer. Then, in 2018, they had another worldwide recall, this time regarding their brake pads. The friction material on the rear brake pads could come off during braking, which would obviously be extremely dangerous. Brembo quickly blamed its brake pad supplier, Federal Mogul, for improperly thermal treating the brake pads at a higher temperature than required, which resulted in a reduced bonding of the pad material to the backing plate, and apparently this was caused by human error. Now, back to 2020, and not to make us bored, Brembo decided that it's time for the front brake pads to also have a recall. At the end of April, the Ducati 1299 Superleggera was recalled for having the same friction material detached from the backplate, but this time on the front brakes. Brembo offered 3 reasons why this would happen and didn't blame this on anyone specifically. The first one was a high concentration of nickel in the compound. Secondly, a high porosity of the compound that allows infiltration of salt and water. And thirdly, micro fractures on the braking plate again, allowing a penetration of salt and water. A whole bunch of different reasons, but one thing is for certain. If you live in a more corrosive environment like by the sea, then you are more likely to be hit by this recall. A few days later, Triumph was hit by this recall with approximately 3,700 bikes being affected just in the US. These include different models like the Street, Speed Triple, Tiger 1200, all with different configurations, but only 2018 to 2020 model years. Now, this is a huge issue for Triumph since it now has to run a campaign notifying all these owners, replacing the brake pads, and of course, losing face in front of the owners, since not all will understand that this recall really wasn't their fault at all. A couple of days later, Aprilia also issued an official recall. Same as Triumph, this wasn't for a trivial amount of bikes, but a whopping almost 3,300 units of the V4 Tuono, all of them ranging from 2017 to 2020. This is still early days on the recall, and judging by the fact that a lot of motorcycle manufacturers use OEM Brembo products, this list is just gonna get larger and larger. We'll keep you updated on what other brands join the recall. Make sure you are subscribed to catch that. Now, there isn't any specific info from Brembo on how you can actually check if your brake pads are affected. The good news is that this is limited to only OEM brake pads, so if you bought Brembo aftermarket pads, you should be fine. The only thing I was able to find is that it does seem to affect at least the brake pads that come with the BRM10B compound from Brembo, but that doesn't mean much since there isn't a list with pads that use that compound. Brembo's site used to show if this was used in your bike by searching for model and the year of the bike, but for some reason they took this info down. This will become a worldwide recall, so if you still have OEM brake pads on your new bike from Brembo, it's always safer to just call your dealer and check on the status of the recall. So, is Brembo pulling a Dave and cost-cutting everywhere they can, while still claiming to be a leader in brake components? Let us know your opinion in the comments below. Well, that's the show for today, everyone. If you've enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up, and if you think you've learned something new, consider subscribing or becoming a patron to help us make more of these shows. Cheers, and I'll see you on the next one.